The Cardinals closed out their regular season with a comeback victory on the road at Elmhurst. North Central overcame a 14-point first-half deficit to defeat the Blue Jays 38-31. Despite the win, the Cardinals' season will not continue. The NCAA did not award NCC with an at-large playoff bid. Today, we'll relive some of the top moments from this season, reflect on a legendary coaching career, and look to the future of the Cardinal football program. Step inside the Red Zone right now. Welcome to the season finale of the Red Zone. I'm Zach Groth. Joining us to start the show following his 118th and final win as North Central College football head coach, it's John Thorne. Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
That game against Elmhurst, just an incredible classic CCIW battle going down to the wire with a strong conference opponent. Tell me a little bit about how you were able to come back and take that win.
Well, you know, we have had trouble almost every time we've played at Elmhurst getting started in the first half. Something always goes wrong. And so I wasn't totally shocked how the first half ended up, but I was really concerned about how we would snap back, and the guys did a terrific job. But even after we scored, with 2 minutes left, I knew we were still in a little bit of trouble because we were really having a hard time containing their offense. So John Skokta made a great play at the end, which was so much fun to see for him and for the whole team.
Let's take a look back at the final game of the regular season for NCC. Here are the highlights. Regular season finale, NCC on the road at Elmhurst. Matt Randolph and O'Shane Brown splitting running back duties. Head coach John Thorne needs a win to keep the Cards in the playoff conversation. Halfback Josh Williams leading the way for the Blue Jays. Down 3-0 in the first, Brown bounces this carry outside, dashes up the sideline, and racks up 39 yards. North Central caps off the drive with a field goal to tie it. 4th and 1 on the next Elmhurst possession, pitch to Williams, who follows his blocking for a 14-yard pickup. Blue Jays keep it going. Near the goal line to start the second, fake give to Williams, quarterback Joe Camilleri keeps and scores. Elmhurst on top 10-3. Another chance later in the frame, this time Williams takes it and has a clear lane to the end zone. Blue Jay lead extends to 14. 4th and short for the Cardinals now, quarterback draw Dylan Warden up the middle, 10 yards to take the Cardinals to the 20. A few plays later, Warden throws down the middle to an open target, freshman Ryan Cool in the end zone. Cards go into halftime down 17-10. First drive of the third quarter, 3rd and 4. Play action, no one open for Warden, rolls right and pulls it down. Uses his big lineman downfield to clear more space, 28-yard Cardinal gain. 2 plays later, Warden deep to the right connects with Sorenson behind the defensive back. The NCC seniors TD ties this one at 17. Elmhurst offense not slowing down. Here's a toss across the middle to Williams. He can do some damage with that much open space. Bounces out to his left to extend the play, finally tripped up at the 11 after a 67-yard gain. Same drive, give to Williams. He'll blow by the Cardinal defense, and Elmhurst has the lead once again. Cardinals will answer, and they do it with the run game. Great blocking right up the middle springs Brown for another NCC score, now tied at 24. The first major miscue comes here for Elmhurst. Camilleri's pass tipped at the line by Brian Wilson and intercepted by Justin Stursma. Cardinals take advantage of the field position with a short scoring drive, capped off by this 2-yard Brown TD. NCC finally takes the lead. Elmhurst will not go away. Across the middle toss to Garrett Claxton, drilled but still holds on and even picks up a few more yards. In the red zone, draw for Camilleri, fights his way to the goal line, and looks like we're tied yet again. Later in the fourth, 2nd and 11, but Warden can't escape the collapsing pocket. Sack sets up 3rd and 17. Cards dive deep into the playbook here. Pitch to Sorenson, he's going to throw it. After rolling right, he goes downfield and finds the tight end, Nolan Brannick, for a 42-yard reception. Now the Cardinals back in the red zone. Randolph takes it straight up the gut to give NCC a 7-point lead with about 2 minutes left. Desperation time for Elmhurst. Camilleri tries a long toss and he'll get it hauled in by Adam Bowers for 44 yards. 3rd and 10 at the 14, 40 seconds left. Camilleri looks end zone but picked off by John Skokna. The INT seals a hard-fought victory for North Central. The Cardinals finished the 2014 season with an 8-2 record.
We talked last week on the show about Josh Williams, and he didn't disappoint. He was a threat. He was taking huge gains on the ground. Why was he so dangerous, and how did you eventually find ways to stop him down the stretch?
Well, he's averaging about 145 yards rushing, and we did hold him to barely 100, but a couple of those plays, we probably should have been able to get him tackled. He's not as easy to tackle as you would like. But what really hurt us were his big pass catches. You know, we went to zero coverage, and they did a great job recognizing it, and he made one quick move and caught the ball, and now we're all chasing him, trying to track him down. So he's a very good player. Their offensive line do a terrific job of blocking the zone play, and he's really patient. And he sits there and boom, jumps, makes those jump cuts and hits the hole really well. So congratulations to Josh for a really great year this year, and we're really glad we got out of there with a W.
We didn't know this at the time, but it turned out to be the final game of the season for your team. How satisfied were you just with the resiliency your team showed throughout the whole year and in this game in particular?
That's a great question, Zach, because we really thought we had a very good chance to get into the playoffs, but it's always exciting and fun to finish a season with a victory. You know, so in the last 10 years, we've only had 2 teams that finished with a win. Both of those were the teams that didn't get to go to the playoffs. So, you know, there's some good, some bad about it. But the guys, we've had a lot of very serious injuries. We've lost more of our actual starters on offense and defense in this season than I would guess if you take any of our 2 worst seasons for injuries, this is even greater than those 2 added together.
Combined.
Yeah. So that does take tremendous resiliency for the players, for the coaches. You know, you have a great offense and defense when the all 11 learn to, they know exactly what the guy on the right and the guy on the left are going to do. Well, when you're constantly plugging a new person in, that's hard to know that, you know. And so defensively especially, we never quite got back to that confidence of knowing what the guy beside is really going to do. And so hopefully we're a lot healthier in the future for the Cardinals.
We're going to relive some of the top plays from this season. Let's take a look at the top plays from 2014. We'll start with special teams. Here are the top 3 moments from the special teams unit.
We start with Dom Zavelia fooling Milliken on 4th and 10 with his fake punt toss to Kevin Schroeder. This throw picks up 25 yards and helps Zavelia earn CCIW Player of the Week honors. 2 weeks later, Zavelia would win that award again thanks to a 4-field goal performance against Carthage. Zavelia was perfect on the day, connecting from 32, 24, 39, and 34 yards out. The conference recently honored Zavelia again by naming him to the first-team All-CCIW team. And the top special teams play goes to sophomore Alex Ulmer. The receiver made a splash as a returner on the road against North Park, taking this kick back 91 yards for a score. That set a new mark for the longest return in school history.
As a special teams guy, a coach that focuses a lot on special teams, how satisfying is it to see the play of that unit this season and what they accomplished?
You know, I was really very, very pleased with the guys. We ended up, if you add up, you know, where you finished in the Big Four, we have the lowest total, so and we think of that as having the best special teams unit in the conference. But lots of guys contributed, and we had several injuries there also. So we were plugging new people in all the time, and they just really worked well together. I thought our kickoff team had a really great year of containing things, but the great kickoff return for a touchdown with Alex Ulmer was really fun, and Dom's pass and his kicking and so forth. It really was very rewarding for me as the special teams guy, but Coach Pooch is the one that really coaches the kicker, so I can't even take credit for that part.
With so many young players on the team taking big roles this season, how optimistic are you for next season and the next few years for this Cardinal program?
It's going to be fabulous. The young guys, the younger coaches, they're really brilliant, and they love the game of football. They're going to keep studying it, and they're going to keep finding ways for the players we have that year to do great things. And so I think it's going to just keep getting better and better and better. I'm happy that I have a chance to stick around maybe a little bit longer. I don't know how long that'll be, but the future for the program. I mean, Coach Jeff has a brilliant mind, and he's going to take the program a lot farther than I was ever able to take it. So, and I can't wait to see that happen. I want to watch that process. I want to be there and see all those great things. And we've had wonderful players, wonderful families, and we're going to continue to get more people just like that. So the future's very, very bright.
We'll expand on that thought after the break. When we come back, we'll speak with the next head coach of the North Central College football team about what the future holds for this program. Don't go anywhere.
Behind the wheel, there is no such thing as a small distraction. A public service reminder from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, who would rather help keep your bones strong than put them back together. Speak out against distracted driving at decidetodrive.org.
We're back here in the Red Zone talking now with both Coach Thornes. Future Cardinal head coach Jeff Thorne joins us now. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff, what has it been like to work with your father for so long throughout his entire tenure at NCC?
It's been an experience that really I can't put into words to help you understand what it's meant to me and my family. I've got 3 young kids, and for them to be able to experience this along with me has really been rewarding. It's been a family kind of deal since I was very, very young. I remember being on the sidelines as a 5 and 6-year-old little kid, watching him coach. So being able to grow up with football and then have the opportunity to coach with him has really been an unbelievable experience.
John, what are your son's biggest strengths as a football coach, and maybe where does he differ a little bit in terms of how he approaches the game compared to you?
We differ because he actually has a memory, and it really works. He's had a brilliant mind when it comes to seeing. His vision is unbelievable. And I think, to be a great player, they have to have great vision. But if you're not a coach that has that kind of vision, it's hard to get the players to understand that. And so Jeff has really been the magic of the program the whole time, far more than me, because it's been his offense from the very, very beginning, and we've had some terrific defensive coaches over the time that have also done magnificent things for us. But the one consistent thing has always been Jeff, running the offense. And, I think the offensive things that we're going to see in the future are going to continue to grow. And it's going to be, really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to watching it. And he did start coming around when he was a 5-year-old, and so did all the grandkids and so on. It's been so much fun to share it with our whole family. And hopefully they're going to let me keep sharing a little bit of it with them.
Well, since we have the offensive play caller here on the set, let's take a look now at the top offensive plays from this season.
We'll go right back to the Elmhurst game for play number 3. Peter Sorenson takes the pitch from Matt Randolph, gets space from a Joe Fairley block, and fires downfield to Nolan Brannick. The freshman tight end hauls in the reverse pass for a 42-yard pickup. Ryan Kent's season was cut short due to injuries, but the running back was electric early in the year. After bursting through the line, he bounces this run outside for a 62-yard touchdown against Wisconsin-Platteville. And for number 1, we go back to Sorenson. His first quarter touchdown on homecoming ties him for the career receiving touchdown record at North Central. Later in the same game against Carthage, Dylan Warden goes deep to Sorenson and rewrites the record book. That was touchdown number 29. Sorenson finishes his career with 34.
Jeff, is it going to be strange at all referring to your father as an assistant coach next season?
That'll be an adjustment, no question. I do want to circle back, though, and when he makes the comments about other people being the magic of the program, I just want to set everybody straight that that's not the case. This man is the architect of what's happened at North Central College. I've got enormous shoes to fill, and I'm just glad that he's going to be there to help me do that. He's why we're where we are. Everything I know about the game, I learned from him. So saying that my mind is more brilliant than his doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, it'll be an adjustment, but I'm excited for it. I think our players will really grab onto it too. I mean, to have him around still running our special teams units is really, really important. That's been such a great strength of the program for so many years, and it makes calling offensive plays and scoring points a lot easier when you're dealing with short fields following great special teams plays.
I'll ask you both this, starting with you, Jeff. Is there a moment or moments that stand out during this 13-year stretch that really are going to stay in your mind forever?
Well, the semifinal run last year was really something I'll never forget. The not just the Mount Union game, but how we got there and the schedule we played. We played 3 really good teams from the Wisconsin State Conference in our non-conference portion last year, and then to run through our conference season the way we did and into the playoffs, it was really a magical run. Some very special things happened that year. Certainly other years were great too. If you go all the way back to the 2002 team that went 6-4, that was a really, really rewarding season. It may seem, 6-4, but that was an important year, and that kind of set the stage for what was able to happen from that point forward.
And any other moments you'd like to add to that list?
Oh, well, the first time we beat Wesleyan on a back shoulder super fade was a great experience. First time we beat, and that was, I think, the first time in like 15 years or something that we had beaten Wesleyan. Then the first time in like 25 years we had beaten Augustana happened very shortly after that the next year, and that was a terrific game too. But one of the things I'm going to really remember the most is winning that first conference championship. 1960 was the last one, and so it was really exciting, and that happened in 2006. We had a great group of guys that played fabulous, and I still have a picture of Jeff and I standing there with a scoreboard in the background, and it was a pretty close game, just like this game was with Elmhurst this last weekend. So, but many great experiences. I think the Franklin game, we were way behind at halftime. We started coming back, and all of a sudden we get the ball back, and we've got just a very short time to get down the field. And our quarterback throws a great pass. Aaron Fanthorpe threw it to Steve Lavick, who was only a freshman at the time, and he kind of dives for it, catches it, and barely falls in the end zone, and we win 44-42. I mean, that's one of my really favorite games. But Jeff's right on with last year's season. That was very magical. The year we played Whitewater at our place, a huge snowstorm. We get it all cleared off. We're ready to go. You know, we're ahead, 10-7 in the fourth quarter, and we happened to have some turnovers, and we didn't hold on to it. So the guys have proven they can play really close with Whitewater. They've proven they can play really close with Mount Union, but now we got to get everybody healthy enough to get to those games. We've really battled some injuries that have really drastically changed what we can do. So we need more depth. We're going to get more recruiting power out of the coaches we have right now than we've ever had before. So there's the ceiling is really high on how far the program can go.
The future looks bright, and Jeff, thanks again for joining us today. Good luck next season.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, 2 senior captains from this year's team will stop by to reflect on their Cardinal careers. More Red Zone coming up.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. Now on the set, 2 seniors responsible for many big plays over the last few seasons, wide receiver Peter Sorenson and defensive back Jordan Dean. Gentlemen, thanks for stopping inside the Red Zone.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, just able to end your career with a W, not the way you would have ideally wanted it, but it's such a strong game against Elmhurst, such an exciting game. I want both of your takes on that. We'll start with Peter. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was an incredible game. I mean, back and forth all the way from the opening kickoff to right down to the final few snaps. Elmhurst was a good team, and they kind of were underperforming their potential. So we knew, even looking at their schedule and their record, that they had the potential to give us a really good game, and that's exactly what they did. And they got off to a great start and a decent-sized lead, but we never gave up. We kept fighting, kept battling, and the guys just showed great resiliency and great persistence, and we were able to claw back one play at a time, and we got some good drives offensively and some stops when we need to, and the way the game ended was awesome.
Those interceptions were so clutch for the team and so integral in that victory. As a member of the secondary, how exciting was it to see those plays develop in front of you?
I mean, it's awesome. It's always nice to help the offense out, especially our offense. They like to put up a lot of points in a hurry. Whenever we get those turnovers, they know how to capitalize. So as a defensive player, it's always nice to, especially in situations and big games like that, to get those turnovers that help out the team and ultimately help us win games, especially Skelkness pick at the end there helps us win games. So it's always nice to have those turnovers.
Peter, I'd be remiss if I don't bring up again the reverse pass. When that play call comes in from the sidelines from Coach Jeff, what's going through your head?
Well, I didn't get the play call at first. It didn't even register to me that in that situation we run that play. So I was like, when we were on the sideline and right before the ball was snapped, I heard Coach say reverse, and I was like, we're actually running it? Like, it caught me off guard, and I was like, okay, I didn't have time to really think about it. We just kind of ran the play, but it was, well executed, well designed. Joe Fairley got a really big block on the corner that kind of gave me some time, and then Nolan made a great play. He high pointed the ball really well, and it was obviously huge, 3rd and 18, in the tie ball game. So that was just an awesome experience, awesome play to be a part of. Just a really big play, really fun play. It was just great.
Let's shift from offense to defense now. The Cardinal defense had its fair share of jaw-dropping plays this year. Now we relive the top defensive plays of the 2014 season.
We'll return to the homecoming game to start our defensive countdown. P.J. Crotty brings down the first Cardinal interception. He'd add a second pick later. Jordan Dean hauls in an INT in the 3rd quarter. And the defense completes a 4-interception afternoon with this pick six from Brandon Kibbe. Kibbe's return is the third longest interception return in school history. Play number 2 happened early in the Platteville game. Pioneer quarterback Bryce Corrigan is completely blindsided by Kevin Schroeder. Ball pops loose and Nick Samuelson scoops it up. He takes it in for 6 to extend the Cardinal lead. And our final top play goes to senior linebacker Michael Monterrubio. The interception here is nice, but what follows is pretty astounding. Everyone on the North Park offense gives chase, but no one will bring him down. Monterrubio shakes off Marquell Hawkins and goes into the end zone.
Jordan, what was your favorite play defensively this season?
I think my favorite play was the hit by Schroeder. Coming off the edge, unblocked, the quarterback had no idea he was there. To see him, run through the quarterback like that, and then I believe it was Samuelson, pick it up for a score, put some points on the board on defense is always nice to see. So to see that collaboration between, the DB making the hit and then the linebacker picking it up for a score, I think that was the most enjoyable to see out in the field, and had me pretty riled up, seeing that to start off the game. That's a big play, especially against a good team like Platteville. So I think that was probably my favorite play to see.
Another question for both of you, and this time we'll start with Jordan. What are you going to miss most about this program and playing at NCC?
Definitely the coaches and the players. I've had an unbelievable experience here. I couldn't ask for a better coaching staff to, end my college career with, and a better group of guys to go through it with. I love these guys. These guys, have been everything to me these past 4 years, and they have really, truly become family to me. And that's probably going to be the thing I miss most is being around these guys every day. Talking to the coaches. Just that experience of having that every day is probably what I'll miss most.
And Peter, your take?
Yeah, very similar to Jordan. I mean, I'm going to miss it all. Obviously the friendships I've gained throughout this program have been unbelievable. All my best friends are on the team, and to practice every day with those guys, to go through the struggle, the physical up and mental up and down. I mean, it's been a great journey. I'm going to miss the coaches. Coach Jeff and Coach Thorne have been awesome, and then Coach Spencer and all the other coaches, just learning from them, and not just in football, and learning life lessons and just being around those great group of people. It's just, this program has meant so much to me. This team has meant unbelievable amounts. I mean, I can't imagine where I'd be without it. I was talking to Coach Jeff last night and just how much this program has meant to me, and going back to when I was making my decision whether to come here, whether not to, and just looking at everything that's happened and all the experiences I've had, I'd go back and make the exact same decision 100 times over. I mean, I love this program. I love the coaches. I love the guys I've played with, and what they've given to me has just been awesome.
Congratulations to you both on some outstanding football careers here at NCC.
Thank you very much.
One more time out here in the Red Zone. When we return, Coach John Thorne will join us one final time to talk about his amazing career at North Central. We'll be right back. Coach John Thorne rejoins us one last time here on the Red Zone. And first off, I just want to say thank you for helping out the station for so long. 7 years doing this show. You've been a huge help to us.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I want to tell you guys what a tremendous service you've been to North Central College, and especially to Cardinal football, because you're not afraid to tell the positive story. And I think that's so important. I just think a lot of times we hear all the evil, all the bad, all the nasty things that are going on in the world, and we forget about all the wonderful things that are happening. And we really love our players, and we're very excited and proud about what they've accomplished and the kind of young men that they are, and our coaches the same way. So thank you, not me.
You're welcome on that, and we have a bit of a surprise here for the final episode. Over the last couple of weeks, we've talked to some of the key figures during your time here at NCC and gotten their takes on your incredible run here as head coach. So now if you can turn your attention to this monitor back here, we're going to show the video we've been working on the last couple of weeks.
The North Central College football program has risen to levels of success under head coach John Thorne that make it hard to imagine a time when NCC wasn't competitive every year. The Cardinals struggled for a long time before Thorne arrived in 2002. They hadn't won a conference title since 1960, and they had never played in the postseason.
Periodically would have a winning season, but there was about 20 years of my time here in those first 20 years that there was a lot of struggles. It's mostly a running game, which we had been for years, maybe 20 years. And so there's just a lack of excitement and lack of success, which also made it then hard to recruit students, hard to recruit student athletes, hard to develop a following in the Naperville community, let alone the alumni base.
When we were looking to hire and change the head coaching position at the time, we didn't know, and you wouldn't know exactly what you're going to get, And so when the day's said and done, to have struck gold, if you will, and to get a coach like Coach Thorne, and to see how he incrementally got our program to the point where now we have won 8 or parts of 8, a co-champion, 8 in a row, which tied Augustana for the all-time CCIW record. And it was it's great for the college in general, and certainly for the athletic department.
It was the opportunity to think, okay, now how can we take this program to another level? And being the VP for advancement, I was very interested in having a successful football program because that would have such an impact on our alumni and such an impact on the Naperville community.
John Thorne finishes his head coaching career without a losing season on his record, but the Cardinals didn't immediately compete for conference titles when he took the job. The first CCIW championship came in 2006, a team led by the most prolific passer in school history, Cam Kness.
When we turned the corner a little bit, we've always had good individuals, but Cam Kness, I remember from the day he walked in, he started every game as a freshman quarterback. He had a presence about himself, and it wasn't necessarily the physical, it was the leadership.
I was pretty much set that I knew that I was going to go play Division III. And in fact, though, as heading into my senior year, I was pretty much set on going to Illinois Wesleyan, coincidentally. You knew that, while he'd only had a half a season of recruiting, the coaches that he surrounded himself and just his presence was going to lead to a lot of great things. And so I was pretty much set right then and there after my first visit.
And in this community, they were just a buzz. And I remember John saying to the first time that we all met with the quarterback club, which wasn't that big at that time, but says he goes, I just want things to be fun. I want people to come and just really have fun. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to be exciting. We're going to go for it on 4th down, even if we're in our own zone. And we're just going to make this fun. We're going to make it that people want to come to our games. We're going to make it so our players want to really play and love coming to practice. And that all happened.
My sophomore year very well could have been the year that we went to the playoffs for the first time. A couple things didn't go our way. But for right or wrong, you got to learn how to win close ball games, and I think not just as creating a winning mentality at the collegiate level with the players. It's I think the coaches would agree that they learned some things about how to manage in tough, difficult games down the stretch, in Division III.
The first time we got in the playoffs was very meaningful because that was kind of like the next step. You won conference, and now you're in the playoffs.
7 wins would be heaven, and then 8 would be great, and we're just he knew we weren't going to go to 10-0. We had to build and take the right steps along the way.
There's a lot of pride that we were part of the group that kind of cultivated the change. And not only did we win some football games when we were there, and you talk about cultivating change, I feel like we installed a culture that was continued to be passed down basically to everybody that's here today. There's a lot of very, very prideful alums that are very happy with where the program's at today, and certainly none of it would have been even started had a guy like Coach Thorne never showed up on campus.
Every year under Thorne helped take the program even further into the national spotlight, including a perfect regular season in 2008. But perhaps the first time the Cardinals put the country on notice was in the 2010 playoffs. An undefeated North Central team squared off with perennial powerhouse Wisconsin Whitewater.
2008 was a great regular season for us. Obviously, it was very disappointing that we couldn't finish it out like we did or like we wanted to. But then 2009, yeah, we had some injuries occur. It's unfortunate, but I guess I was lucky and I got to come back. And there's really no doubt in my mind that I wanted to come back right away, just because of how much I enjoyed the program, the coaches. I knew I wanted to finish out here. Not only finish my career, but also finish it for the coaching staff as well.
Another big moment was when Whitewater came here, and we were, kind of both rated, right up there, top 4, I think, in the country, and there was some dispute of whether, Whitewater we should be going there for a game, but we were actually ranked ahead of them. And
it was the first time that we'd ever been to the third round of the playoffs, and I can't remember. I think Whitewater, I don't know if they'd won it the previous year, but obviously they're a perennial power, and we were right there with them. A couple of things maybe go our way, and we win the game. But I think it really just gave the younger guys confidence that, hey, we can play with these guys. The coaches, they knew that we could. I think that game really solidified for a lot of people that, hey, we can compete at the highest level, and I think it just set the precedent for moving forward.
The advancement of the Cardinal program started with the acquisition of talented student athletes. Thorne and his staff have brought in 185 players who've won all conference honors.
He was one of the biggest reasons I decided to come to North Central, and that was because of his philosophy, how he treated people, how he treated his players. We weren't just a number to him. We were family, we were important, and I really sensed that from the first moment I met him.
Coach Thorne, from the day I stepped on campus, has been very demanding. I mean, he is on all of his players. He expects a lot from them, and he holds you to a very high standard. And just, I was able to keep working throughout the JV and then kind of develop each year as my role has grown more and more. And what Coach Thorne has asked of me has changed each year as well, and he's just constantly striving to get every one of his players better and more prepared, and that whole transition has really come full circle.
He wasn't so much concerned with me as an athlete. He was more concerned about who I was as a person. And I think that speaks a lot of his characters for him to go and talk to, a 17, 18-year-old kid and talk to him about who you are.
Thorne has always fought for his athletes and their needs, and facilities have been a big part of those efforts. A new locker room was one victory the players will appreciate for years to come.
Certainly physical plant changes and facilities are important as well. The locker room, they fundraise for it with a lot of help, a lot of alums that want to see it better than what they had it. And it is. It's really a great, it really turned out probably better than we might have anticipated. We've already placed the order for all the brand new weight room equipment, the platforms with all brand new equipment, and that's supposed to arrive right around November 17th or so.
He's the kind of guy who doesn't really rest on what he's accomplished. He's always out there fighting for more. So when he says he's going to go out and do something like the locker room, it took a lot of years and a lot of fundraising, but he got it done. He kind of stepped into a program that was already very well established. But I know through my time here that it hasn't always been that case. I've learned how hard coaches have worked at this, and how much the players have put the blood, sweat, and tears to get awesome stuff like this for us. 2013
brought another leap forward for the Cardinals, another undefeated regular season, their 8th consecutive conference title. The Cards cruised through the first 3 rounds of the postseason, leading into one of the most exciting games in school history on the road at Mount Union.
The process was a pretty fun one. I mean, it was really enjoyable to go from the year before when we kind of faltered in the playoffs to really developing and growing throughout the season. You know, every game we got better, and it started off we were kind of rocky, but you know, by the time we hit Wheaton and especially in the playoffs, we were fully going, and we were a good team. We got better each year.
Last year at Mount Union, that big snowstorm, that was like one of the most exciting, fun games I've ever been at. It was in the stands with you know, a lot of the guys that were in those first teams, and it was special, and it was devastating. And
it's, you know, it just speaks to where the program was and where it's headed now. It was tough to lose to Mount Union, even though there's a lot to be said about going head-to-head against, you know, the pinnacle of D3 football. But, you know, that team was so good that there weren't many moral victories. But that just goes to show you that what we expect as a program. You know, we're not satisfied with just getting somewhere. We're always pushing the limits, pushing the boundaries, and trying to take that next step. And that stems from Coach Thorne, as I said before.
Now the Cardinals turn to their new head coach, a familiar face with a similar philosophy. John Thorne's son Jeff has operated the Cardinal offense during the entire 13-year stretch and now accepts the responsibility of continuing what his father has built up at NCC.
You look at it, and if you were an athletic director anywhere in the country at any level, you would say, what are you looking for if you're trying to hire an offensive coordinator? If you could tell someone you're going to average for sure in conference about 42 points a game, I promise you'd hire him. We want to keep what we have going. You know, and Jeff was being courted by other schools in our conference that wanted him as the head coach, and other schools outside of it, and we felt like we need to keep what we have in place. That's our best chance to, you know. And I know Coach Thorne, given all the circumstances, he was prepared to retire, but wanted to make sure that whatever he left it as was at the right place.
These are good people, and I have nothing but the greatest respect for Coach Thorne and for his son, for the way they do things. I mean, you don't establish what you do over there like that and not do something right. I mean, doing something right, they retain players, they graduate players, they have former players coaching. That tells you something.
Those two coaches believed more in me than I did in myself. Coach John and Coach Jeff saw something in me that I didn't know I had inside. Honestly, they supported me, and they pushed and had me work to get better every single day.
Players past and present say John Thorne has left a mark on them that will remain throughout their lives. They express their gratitude for what their coach has meant to them, both on the field and off it.
You know, I just look around at the success of all of my former teammates and classmates, and every single one of them is at the top of their respected professions. They've all got families, they've all got a lot going on for them, and you know, basically I think every single one of us that's come out of that program, for the most part, at least the guys that I'm still close with, you know, every single one of us is an All-American in that, right? And I think that's one of the key pieces that I'll always continue to remember.
He always loves to talk about how I transformed over the years, but that's something more of a personal one-on-one moment that we have together. He says, you know, that Nick, he was softer than cotton candy, I believe. He couldn't run through a sheet of paper, but once he left here, he left as a man.
The amount of time he takes on every little detail of special teams and of offense and defense before he was really focusing on special teams, it goes unlooked, unnoticed a little bit, and he's just always prepared. He's a great motivator. He's just, you know, a great coach and a great person.
I think it's just the conversations that we had when I was hurt. You know, countless numbers of them. Always encouraging me. You know, it was a pretty tough time, but he was always there. I could go into his office, talk to him about anything, and really just you know, encouraging me to that it's going to be all right. You know, you just got to have faith and trust that everything's going to work out, and it did. And I'm really thankful for that.
We're really thankful for that as an institution, that John has carried himself in such a way that when you mention John Thorne, you mention our football program, people think of something very high level, very quality, very clean and good and successful. And so that's a lot of fun.
How it's impacted our alumni and the people that put like we said earlier, the people that were founding building blocks along the way all those years, from the 90s, from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 60s, and all the way back, they all can take pride of what's happened to this point. And that's a lot to be thankful for.
Coach, looking back, seeing how many lives you've touched, hearing from some of these players, what's the emotion like at this stage?
It was the greatest joy of my life to be able to be at North Central with these players and the coaches. And Kathy and I have shared this together, you know, all this time, and Stacy and Jeff have been a huge part of it too. I mean, when I got hired 13 years ago, I told them then, I said, you know, you're getting the least talented of the four Thorns. Because Kathy and Stacy and Jeff are just, they're amazing people with unbelievable skills to change the world. And so when we talk to our players, when we deal with our players, there's a purpose that the Lord has for everybody in their life. And we just want to help them find that purpose and trust that it's a good thing that they can do and that they can go out and make the world a better place. And oh my gosh, to see so many of them do it and to watch them grow from a freshman to a senior has been so enjoyable for us. And I couldn't be more excited about the future of the players that have graduated from North Central College, and I can't thank them enough for how they've changed my life, Kathy's life, and the rest of our coaches and so forth. So it's not me. It's the philosophy is there, and it's going to stay there. And as long as you have coaches that buy into it, you're going to always find players that'll be willing to buy into it too. But a lot of our players, it was their leadership that really got us over the hump, you know. And of course, every coach that's worked for us has really brought some wonderful things to Cardinal football, and I appreciate them. I wish them the very best for the rest of their lives. And so I better quit talking here and let you guys get on with your next shows and everything. Thank you so much for allowing, you know, Cardinal football to be part of this.
One last time, congratulations on an incredible, outstanding career, and thank you again for all you've done for us and all your players.
Thank you, Zach.
That wraps up the 2014 season of the Red Zone. Our North Central sports coverage will continue this year with the Cardinal Report. The Red Zone returns next fall with head coach Jeff Thorne. We'll see you then. Signing off for NCTV 17, I'm Zach Groth.